Welcome to Fire Roosters YouTube's guy. This is just a quick one, because we got some breaking Miami Heat news. But before we go, I'm Tim A, one of the co-hosts of Bahama Rican Boys, and if you watch Spaces, if you listen to Spaces, you gotta know my man Tony Swartz, looking so clean, and the coach Sean Rochester with the Heat hat. And shout out to these two guys. They are making the trek to Vegas to watch Jokic win the MVP. Sorry, Jovic. They call it Jovic. Before we get to what we really hear about, there's a question that came up in the chat that I want you guys to talk about right quick. There's no way Smart and Mulder end up being our two ways this season. Like I do not like how they look. What do you guys saw in the California Classic that you hope to see in Vegas or more of?
Sean, you've been paying a little bit closer attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually have an article coming out. Ethan should be publishing it sometime today. I think it's really between Allman and Bouye. I also think Robinson and Bryce Williams are the other two to watch. I think you have two forwards, you have two guards. So I don't know if both of them, Smart and Mulder, get knocked out. But with Mulder shooting 21% from behind the arc, that you're not making anymore. Like, you have to make shots. We talk about that with Duncan a lot. Like, if he's not making shots, what is he doing? Mulder's the same way, and the offense looked better without Smart. So I think those 2 point guards are the guys that I would target maybe if we're going to make a switch.
Especially as an older guy like Mulder, it's not like he's 21, 22. This is Baum's roommate. So if your one skill is to shoot and you're not hitting in summer league, you're not really giving me kind of confidence, Tony. So I did like Bouye to be drafted, but you got undrafted. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Bouye is one of those guys that just I don't know how much his intangibles spoke for him before he was drafted, but watching him play, they're really jumping off the page. He's like 6'2", 190, so he has really good size for a guard. But he just seems to put his imprint on the game. And when you're looking at these guys in summer league, you're just looking for a skill set that can translate to the NBA, not a full game. He can play make. He has skill. I think, honestly, he's the best guard that we have out there right now. We'll see how that shows in Vegas, but I like Bouye a lot. I like Robinson's effort a lot, too, even though I don't think he's worthy of a two-way spot right now. But Bouye, for sure, he's taken one of those two ways for me.
And Jovic had his best game in other 3 games. What did you see that can kind of translate to how the Heat schemes and even going past Vegas into maybe the G League or maybe some spot minutes in the season?
Yeah, I mean, his shooting obviously stood out. The last game, 5 of 7. I think he shot pretty close to 35-40% over the 3 games. So that was impressive. He was like 8th, I think, overall in the whole California Classic in scoring. Obviously, it was led by that 25-point effort. And remember, these games are shorter. So when you're looking at those numbers, 25 points is pretty impressive in a 40-minute game. I think he felt more comfortable. You could see the game was very fast, sped up for him. I think Vegas is going to be a little bit rise in talent too, so you might see that again. But you just want to see flashes from him. He's 19 years old. He's not going to be an instant contributor, but just seeing the good things that are happening, and hopefully they outweigh the bad things that are happening, because that's just progress.
Yeah, and keep in mind, he's a guy that got into Sacramento literally the day before they started playing games, right? So he just got off of a long trip, and I don't want to make excuses for anybody. Obviously, this is his first taste of NBA talent, regardless of what level. That's a different kind of speed that he's playing at here. But, Sean, tell me about this, man. Those 9 rebounds he had for a guy with his frames, like he went up and got those rebounds. He was presented himself as a physical body on the block. Like, were you expecting that out of him?
No, I think part of it also, not to discourage him, but I think it was the Warriors. They did nothing inside in that game.
That's true, too.
They were absolutely vacant. So I think that was part of it. But, I mean, any rebounds that he contributes, I don't look at him. I know he probably plays the 4, but I look at him more as a 3 that's playing the 4. So, size-wise, he's still very immature. And so I think that's part of that process. I saw in the chat somebody brought up Marcus Garrett. I don't know if he's going to play in Vegas. He's been hurt. He had a wrist injury. But obviously he got a 2-way from us last summer. If he plays, he's another guy that I would put on that list with those group of guards. But if he's still hurt, I mean, obviously they saw something they liked in him last summer, but he has to play in order to get that spot. I think otherwise it's just someone to monitor.
Is Garrett the new Briante Rebel? Like he comes back every summer.
Maybe. I mean, I could see Garrett being a guy who sticks around the culture, around the summer league team, probably more than the Heat team. But I could see it. It's like this Robinson. Robinson gives me those vibes too. Like he'll be around the summer league team for like the next 3 years.
We got this out of the way. This is what we actually came here for. The biggest signing of the day. The Miami Heat re-signed Caleb Martin, aka Red Bull. And if you guys listened to our pod last night or even like last week, one thing I said for sure, if it wasn't Otto Porter Jr., the only guy I really wanted to give Emily to was Caleb. So did you guys expect him to get out? Did you think he'd break it up into two other players? How do you guys feel about it?
I thought Caleb was going to get a biannual, to be very honest with you. I didn't. Obviously, we didn't see a lot of the way that the roster construction was going to happen up until this point happening this way, giving Dedmon some salary money. I didn't see. Caleb played 22 minutes for you last year, and you lost PJ Tucker, who is basically your foundational versatile four. You know you still need another four on the roster, but you cannot risk losing the one piece that you had that gave you really good contributing minutes. I don't think the fans are going to react really kindly to this. But it was a move that if Caleb had this kind of competition for him on the open roster, that they made a smart decision to get him under contract right now. It's a really good salary number over 3 years. If he can contribute even close to what he gave us last year, $6.7 million. That's a really good number.
And he gets half what his brother gets. I still think he's better than his brother. Like his brother got like 4 years, like almost 40 million from the Hornets.
Yeah, I'll take this any day, right? Like there's way more value in this contract, especially if he continues to progress as a player. But what you have right now is one piece of the two pieces that you need for the four spot. And I think now you have more versatility if you want to sit and wait a move at deadline. You have Dedmon under contract. You have him under contract now. You have Vic under contract, really good 1 year contract. You now have salary if you want to make a move at deadline to make a fundamental piece to make the team better. But more importantly, you have a roster that you can go out and play basketball with at the start of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that last point. I mean, it's the only other contract besides Tyler that's in that like $5, $6, $7 million range. So it's almost like Dedmon. It was signed to be maybe traded eventually, and it keeps you away from having to trade Kyle Lowry in every single deal of a monster contract because you have to get the numbers up. Him and Duncan are basically involved in everything, and now you're starting to see some salaries that can add up to a bigger number. I don't think you guys would think he's going to be a starting power forward, right? Like this is not a contract that was signed.
I've seen that on Twitter. I did not think Caleb or Jimmy starts at the four. It doesn't happen. This is Jimmy's backup. He could give you some split minutes at the four if need be, but this is just locking up your piece because they weren't using the full MML, the 10 million, because they don't want to be hard capped for the very same reason.
Right.
Durant, Kyrie, Mitchell. So once you knew he was going to spend 6.5, look at the market. Otto Porter is gone. TJ Warren signed for the minimum. Who else? You're going to get Dennis Schroeder. We have like 9 guards. So that's why I said it was always going to be Caleb. And he deserved the raise. Like I said earlier, like shout out to J. Cole. He was working in North Carolina and he called Karan Butler, like, hey, this guy looks good. And Karan said, we have Caleb Martin like kind of low on our board right now. And J. Cole said, no man, you gotta come. And he came, he watched them, and they said come back. And Caleb didn't want to come back for a second workout because like you guys might be wasting my time when somebody else wants to sign me. But he has this reputation of developing young players, and Caleb took that risk, got to 2A. Thanks to COVID and some injuries, he played a lot of minutes, and voila. So he has made $2 million his whole entire career. The man just signed for a fully guaranteed $20.5 million. So I love that. I like those stories. Like work hard,
great story.
and get rewarded. So basically, what the Heat have left to change their roster minimums and a trade. The biannual does exist, but we already said the Heat doesn't want to get hard capped. Maybe you extend Hero before the end of August, so you could still trade him again next deadline. But so what do you guys think we get for Duncan, or it's basically waiting for KD?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, like I think Caleb could have signed to that biannual number, but not using the biannual, if that makes sense. Like split the MLE. But I don't. I mean, this maybe isn't a little bit of an overpay, but it's not. What were you going to do with the extra $2 million that you would have saved? So I think in that terms, it's a good deal. With the Duncan thing, we saw Eric Bledsoe go off the board today. He got cut and he goes down to I think $4 million instead of paying him $19 million. So the Blazers save some money. You still have Harrison Barnes. You still have. Bogdanovich in Utah. There's a couple guys that are still out there that are big expirings, or maybe they break it into two expirings. I mean, until the Durant thing gets figured out, all this stuff is just constipated. It's stuck in the booty. It's not coming out. There's nothing that's happening. The NBA is just plugged in.
I've never seen it this slow. I have 12 years ago when it was the decision. But I guess we've been so spoiled over the years. Like we expect things to happen like this. We like to say Jake Fisher reports everything he hears, and he says nothing is happening. Like,
Yeah.
until KD gets his deal done and Aiton signs a offer sheet or gets a sign and trade. Wait, go find other hobbies or watch summer league like us, like Tony and and Sean. And there are a few people asking in the comments talk about Kyle Alman Jr. I like that dude.
Yeah, I like Kyle Ullman too. I think that recent reports about Bojan have gotten me slightly excited. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I like. I also like taking Duncan's contract and splitting it into two expirings. I like the Larry Nance package for Duncan's contract too.
Griffin really loves Duncan Robertson. Griffin really loves Duncan Robertson.
And Larry would be a great fit here, and he doesn't really have a defined role where he is right now. So it comes down to me right now. You're swinging for the fences with Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant, and if you can't find suitors, you have to put yourself in the best possible position to play basketball when the season starts. There's going to be important games before the trade deadline hits, and you got to play them, and you have to field the best team you possibly can. So I just want versatile contracts and versatile players that we can take or move if we need to at deadline to make the best possible team we can going into the playoffs this year. Because as much as Heat fans think that we're out of this, if we don't land one of those two big fishes, we're certainly not, especially if they go back to their teams before they play basketball in September.
And before I let you guys enjoy the airport, we literally have one roster spot left.
I'm not.
One roster spot left, which might go to UD. So now, if we do the 2-for-1, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So Greg has said we're this close to getting Crowder. So maybe you do Duncan for Jay and Torrey Craig. But that marks it. So does Highsmith get sacrificed? Because, and do we, or is it also weird because we have to keep a spot open for Haslam, and then you have to look at maybe doing a 2-for-1, 3-for-1 with Duncan. Is there anything look into that, or is Haslam you just do what you gotta do?
Well, Highsmith has a deadline next week, like on the 15th or 14th, that his contract isn't guaranteed until then. So that's one of your outs there. I mean, if UD wants to come back, you're making a ring for him. I don't know who that would be. I think it, like you said, would come from a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-2 trade, something like that. That opens up a roster spot. But if he wants to come back, I'm bringing him back. We'll have our annual argument. It's usually like mid-July, late July, where Heat fans turn on him. We'll come back to it like usual.
Yeah, Teddy from Miami. You doing this?
I never want to miss that. Like, I never want that gone. Sean, they sent a whole conglomerate to his house. They tried to recruit him like it was college. Like, if he wants to come back, he's back. There's no doubt about it.
So is it likely? Because I mean, Highsmith looked very good. He hit some threes. In California, does he get the boot to accommodate a Duncan 2-for-1 trade?
Can I be honest? I don't think it's easy to cut Highsmith. Like, I like him a lot, and I think the Heat like him a lot. It's why he's stuck around, even though he hasn't really produced on the team. He has a skill set that's really translatable to what we want to do defensively, and he can develop that offensive game to fit inside of, to be portable inside of our rotation. It would be tough. You would need you'd have to convince me that you're getting the right kind of players in to cut him. I don't know how you feel about Highsmith.
So like I said, so Jay Carter and Torrey Craig, is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean, that's worth it. That's worth it. I like Torrey Craig probably more than I like Highsmith right now, but Torrey's ceiling is what it is, and I think Highsmith could be, Caleb Martin with a little more development.
I mean, the person I was thinking about is Deadman. I mean, if you trust Ura, that would be the guy. But now you just signed him. You could trade him at the mid-season mark, but it doesn't open up a roster spot unless UD's going to wait until halfway through and sign. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I think we need to keep close to the deadline because it's not guaranteed till then. He gets 50K, and 50K is not really a big number when it comes to the cap. So maybe they wait until I think September. It goes up to like 400,000. So maybe they let me 50K next week as a thank you for summer league, and then if push comes to shove, they give him the boot before the 400K is guaranteed.
It'll be a good indicator of what they think they're about to do, right? Like that'll be a good tell. Like if Highsmith gets cut, you can feel pretty secure that they've got something going on.
So guys, thank you all for coming in last minute. I hate to work while traveling, especially the airport, but I can't wait to see the stories, the good deep down heat culture stories you guys get from covering this team. And everyone's waiting for Ivy and Paolo and Shet, but I'm looking forward to the Jovic content. I'm looking for the MVP, Nikola Jovic.
He's got tough competition, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The first game is against the Celtics on Saturday. So I don't know, young guys, they don't really have a whole lot, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see just compete and see what happens. But yeah, I'm excited about seeing Jovic and Allman, those guys.
I haven't watched any Celtic Summer Classic. Did they have Pritchard back out there at this point?
I think they have the next Duncan and Sam Hauser.
Nick Stauskas might be out there too.
Nick Stauskas.
He got traded to the Pacers.
It's a shame. He fits in well there.
Thank you guys for watching us at midday on this Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, and subscribe, please. We have more content as more signings are announced. And please keep calm. Keep calm.
Thanks, guys. We'll be in Vegas in a few hours, so we'll keep you guys up to date with what's going on.